And I am proud to bring on Katie McFarland, Fox News national security analyst. We're all very proud right now. Katie, thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
As we were broadcasting right here on Mornings on the Mall yesterday morning, we were getting the details of that horrific attack in the synagogue complex in Jerusalem. We now know that 5 died in that brutal attack. I wonder if you could give me your reaction to the president's response and also juxtaposed to the Secretary of State's response, which I think was a little more forceful.
The president, the biggest response he should have made is, we see an increase in violence in Israel brought on by Hamas. Hamas's main financial backer and supporter is Iran. We are therefore going to suspend negotiations with Iran over Iran's nuclear program.
Yeah. Meanwhile, John Kerry heading off to Austria to have those very same talks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hitting where the money is. I mean, the problem is this is going to continue and continue and continue. So on one hand, you have an administration desperate for its legacy, desperate for a foreign policy success. Every administration I've ever been in, they're looking around at this stage for a legacy. What are they going to be remembered for in the history books? And there's nothing in foreign policy that's been anything even remotely resembling, a neutral. There have all been failures. The Libyan war was a failure. Iraq pullout was a failure. Strategy against ISIS is a failure. Afghanistan is going to be a failure. Reset with Russia was a failure. China's pushing Obama around like he's a lame duck leader of a has-been nation. So what's left? It's got to be a deal with Iran. And so the administration, the president, is going to give Iran anything it wants. It's going to let their economy boom by lifting sanctions. It's going to look the other way while Iran continues its nuclear program. And it's going to let Iran run the region by going after the Sunnis and anybody else in the region, and at the same time holding back the Kurds. So why should we let this happen? Because the president thinks it's much more important to have him look good in the history books than to protect Israel or to protect the region from a nuclear arms race.
All right. Well, listen. Let's play just a little bit of that. I observed earlier that the president delivered this message with about as much passion as he would if he were delivering his grocery list. But here's a little bit of what he had to say.
Too many Israelis have died. Too many Palestinians have died. And at this difficult time, I think it's important for both Palestinians and Israelis to try to work together to lower tensions and to reject violence.
At a time when Palestinians, went into a synagogue with guns, knives, and axes and started killing people, was that the time to bring up a moral equivalency between the Jews and the Palestinians?
I mean, I don't know what he was thinking. Was he thinking, well, the Palestinians died because they were the ones that were chopping off the heads of the Jews worshiping in their house of prayer? I mean, is that the guys he was referring to?
Some have said that the president was referring to a bus driver who died recently, and many say that it was there are no direct connections, but some are saying that it was at the hands of Israelis. And there's been an increase in violence in general, and including some against the Palestinians, but he was definitely drawing an equivocation.
The president has, throughout his administration, looked at Israel in a very different light from the American people, from presidents of both political parties, from our senior leadership, since the entire creation of the State of Israel. He looks at them as a roadblock to what his grand vision is of the Middle East peace. And so, as a result, he doesn't stand up for Israel. As a result, he looks at a situation where the Palestinians lob rockets into Israel. Israel retaliates by going after the rocket launcher sites and says, therefore it's equivalent. It's not equivalent. Who started the fight? But in any event, the president should understand that American foreign policy has been predicated on the assumption that the United States stands by Israel. And the president of the United States is about to either sign a deal or to delay signing a deal, but in effect has the same result of letting Israel's enemies triumph.
By the way, if I could just say, what you just said almost echoes exactly what Senator Rand Paul said in a statement yesterday. He said, I stand by Israel at this time. And he then said, we must demand that Palestinian leaders stop the incitement, which they have committed in word and in deed. This is a guy who many people have said is too soft on Israel and not too interventionist to run for president. What do you think of that?
I think everybody ought to give Rand Paul a second look. The rap is, he's an isolationist. If you look at the very brilliant speech he gave about 3 weeks ago, I think it was at the Cato Institute. But anyway, he outlined his foreign policy. It was thoughtful. It was deliberate. It was not isolationist. It was America is going to it's going to defend its vital interests, and it's going to fight to win. It's not going to haphazardly jump into the middle of civil wars everywhere in the world in the hopes that things turn out well. I thought it was very thoughtful, very deliberate, and I think he personally is thinking his way through that. So the people who say, well, dismiss him and say no Republicans are ever going to take him on seriously because he doesn't believe in Republican foreign policy, I think take a second look at him. He's a very thoughtful guy, and he is carving out a path in the wilderness between interventions which we lose to talk about an America that reinstates its place in the world, but doesn't get in the middle of every civil war that we can't win.
By the way, I erroneously called him an interventionist. I meant isolationist. So quite the opposite thing.
Yeah, very different. Yeah. Okay, let me talk about something else that is really a national security. Energy policy relates to national security, because if we are energy sufficient, if we make good decisions about energy in this country, then we don't have to rely on other parts of the world where things run stable. Democrats blocked the Keystone Bill yesterday. Any thoughts?
Whose side are they on? You know, the United States has been given a gift. We have the ability to look for energy resources, oil and natural gas. We've used those 3D mapping, et cetera, and we realize that we are abundant. We North America, we the United States, we Canada, we Mexico, we are abundant in natural resources of oil and natural gas to give us self-sufficiency for 100 years. We also probably have enough left over to export to other parts of the world. We could become the new Middle East. We could become the world's major energy source. And yet, not only will that be jobs for Americans, but not only will that be the seed for a new manufacturing revolution in the United States, as cheap energy marries up with 3D printing and robotics and nanotechnology and bioengineering. But it would also allow us, as you say, to no longer be dependent on the Middle East. And yet our Democrat leadership and the president, they're so in love with the campaign donations that radical environmentalists throw in their direction that they will stand in the way of the prosperity and the second great American century, because they're hoping that their campaign coffers are going to be loaded up and they're going to win the next election.
All right. KT McFarland.
I'm fired up today.
Yes, I can tell, and we love it when you are. KT McFarland, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And stay warm up there.